Hello and welcome to FPL Waffle, a review of Game Week 1, a preview of Game Week 2. PS, thank you so much for the subscriber that joined following the last video. If you're watching this, it is much appreciated. And yeah, kind of for those of you watching that are new, these sort of videos are basically a 10 plus minute kind of review of the week. I try and kind of take some of the key things I've heard from other YouTubers and just summarize it into one video, which you might find helpful as kind of like a nice little summary overview. So that's a bit of an insight into the channel. Without further ado, let's head into the screen share and how I got on in the first game week of the new Premier League season. And I got 74 points, which, to be honest, for the first game week, I cannot complain about. It's a very solid score. I'm 1,800,000 in the world, which doesn't mean too much at this stage, but it is a good indicator that I had a decent enough game week to sort of, get me up the ranks to start off with. And yeah, here's sort of how the team did. So Pickford in goal with 2 points was a slight disappointment. Everton were conceding no chances whatsoever, really, until Fulham scored. But he still got the 2 points. And, going forward, I know he's going to get some points with clean sheets, etc., particularly at home. So I'm not too worried about him. A bit unlucky, but it is what it is. Defensively, Estepinian, what a legend. Last minute of the game, gets an assist and then gets 3 bonus, proving why he's in everyone's teams. Luke Shaw got me the clean sheet last night, which I was happy with. I was a bit disappointed I didn't have a Nana in a way, because Chilwell I don't have in my team, and I just financially in my team I just couldn't work it in a way that meant I could have the likes of Anana in goal and Chilwell at the back. So I'm now going to have to think about a transfer moving forward for him. But either way, look, I got the Shaw clean sheet. I can think about Chelsea transfers moving forward. Pickford is a bit of a set and forget for the season. I'm not too worried about. So yeah, I'm fine with that. Saliba with a cheeky 5 points of the assist was decent. Gabriel was frustrating. I did hear the last minute news from Andy's channel about him maybe not playing, but it was too close to the deadline for me to try and rejuggle my team. I probably wouldn't even have got on the app because I think a lot of people had issues with that. And there was no guarantee the news was concrete either. So yeah, we'll have to think about Gabriel moving forward. I'll mention him in a bit in this video. Midfield wise, Rashford and Fernandes a bit disappointing home to Wolves. You'd expected at least one return between them. But Salah got me the assist at Chelsea and now is looking at a juicy fixture this week. Saka with 10, very nice. I very nearly captained him this week, but I was pleased I didn't because of that man Erling Haaland, proving that away to Burnley was no problem at all. And João Pedro, 7 points. I got a bit lucky of a soft penalty for him, but I'll take it. And on the bench, we had nothing really to show for it. Baldock almost came on for my Gabriel, but 1 point doesn't make too much difference. So, yeah, fairly happy overall. Solid game week. Looking into sort of next game week's team, this is kind of how it's looking. So, my Salah captain home to Bournemouth, kind of one of the reasons I picked him at the start of the season for that captaincy against Bournemouth. Really hoping he outscores Haaland and kind of honours my faith in him. As it stands, I've got Baldock at the back, away to Forest. Basically, the logic here is I've got Turner as well. I'm thinking it could be a 0-0 game. If not, it would be. I'd like to think there's a decent chance at least one of those teams keeps a cleaner. So between them, I'm like, if I get one clean sheet, amazing. If I get two, like a huge bonus. But I think it's worth a go because Shaw away at Spurs on my bench. I just don't think they're going to keep a clean sheet. United and Pickford away to Villa. We know how good Villa are attackingly. Again, wouldn't expect a clean sheet there. So that's the logic with those guys. The rest is fairly sort of self-explanatory. Hoping Gabriel gets to start against Palace in this game. I think he will. I think it was a tactical switch why he didn't play the last one. But you'd think Palace away from home, a harder game. You might need a more solid defender in Gabriel to get the clean sheet. And Timber now isn't an option either. I think he should be fine, but he's one to monitor. It's one of the reasons I very nearly jumped last night before Luke Shaw's price rise. I nearly brought in Chilwell for him, but I was like, I might need to put out a Gabriel fire if there's any injuries this week. I want to go into game week 3 with 2 transfers. If we quickly look at my FPL.team side, like going into game week 3, like Luke Shaw as well for a start at home to Forest, like I'm really happy to have. So I don't really want to rush to get rid of him. Also, if Gabriel, for some reason is like off to Saudi Arabia or, misses another game on the bench, 2 free transfers is going to be useful for me because I can't do a direct switch to someone like Chilwell because he's more expensive than Gabriel. So with 2 free transfers, I could do the likes of Salah, I'm tempted by Son, a bit of a differential for Spurs. They've got good fixtures, but let's say I did a sort of boring, safe choice of Maddison, I then have the funds to do like Gabriel to the Chilwell or the James. That would be really nice for upcoming fixtures. And I've got money in the bank. And if I wanted to take a hit, I could up Pedro or Archer to Jackson, who's another player I'm strongly looking at with Chelsea's fixtures, and then I can have a team sort of looking like that for game week 3, which is looking very, very decent. Obviously, the captaincy would probably be on Haaland, but I kind of want to have those 2 transfers to roll into game week 3, because there's just a lot that can change in a game week, and with the Gabriel uncertainty, and they're getting me an injury to James or Chilwell with their injury record, like I want to keep Shaw for Forest. I just think there's no real rush. And my team for 3 is looking very good with no transfers, to be honest. Anyway, even if I didn't make any transfers that game week, like Salah away to Newcastle was the hardest game, and that's Salah. So, I think it's worth rolling the transfer. If you can roll the transfer this week, definitely worth trying to do, I think. Because game week 3 is where, I think you want maximum information to then really work out, okay, who am I going to target? Predominantly, I think, from Chelsea, as I mentioned, this run, home to Luton, home to Forest, away to Bournemouth, and then you've got home to Villa, away to Fulham, away to Burnley. It's an insanely good run, and they're looking all right this season. So the likes of Jackson, Chilwell, James, maybe Sterling as a differential, all really good options. You want to be having at least 2 of those, I think, from game week 3. And then also Spurs, I think, are worth a look. Away to Bournemouth, away to Burnley, home to Sheffield. Okay, a couple of tricky ones there, but we know Liverpool are leaky when it comes to that one. Arsenal's a rivalry, and then away to Luton. I think they're the teams you've really got to be targeting. And in game week 3, I might take a hit to just have like 2 Chelsea, 1 Spurs or something. The Spurs players, I think Maddison's your solid, safe pick. He was brilliant against Brentford. Everything's going through him. If you want someone a bit different, Richarlison could well be, a consistent man up front. Now, Kane's gone, although it wouldn't surprise me if Spurs bought in a forward before the end of the window. So someone like Son, a bit more expensive. If you wanted someone different to Maddison, maybe a bit more explosive, he could be the play to have a bit of a punt at. He's now the captain. He might be on pens. We don't know who's on pens yet. It could be a Maddison, could be a Son, could be Richarlison, etc. But we'll see. But again, more information in game week 2. If you roll the transfer, you'll then have a bit more to work with for game week 3. You might even find out who's on penalties for Chelsea. Could be Reece James. He's now the captain. He's good at penalties. They don't have the likes of Jorginho there now. Like, wouldn't surprise me if he was on pens. So, I think, if you have the 2 transfers game week 3, you've got more information to work with if you can. That would be my suggestion. And then if you wanted sort of any players to think about for this coming game week 2, obviously Liverpool at home to Bournemouth is just an amazing fixture. If you don't have Salah, it's going to be difficult to get to him at this stage. So you might want to look at someone like Luis Diaz, played brilliantly against Chelsea, 7.5 mil, tempting. You might want to take a punt on like a Gakpo, Diogo Jota. Like Darwin's most likely to be benched, but it's hard to quite know with the Liverpool players. Like if you're putting them in for a 1-week punt and you're not certain they're going to start, it seems a bit risky. But even if they come off the bench for 30, they might do something. If you've got no other transfers to make and next week your team's looking great and you think, actually, I have a position where I've got a license to do it, why not have a bit of fun? It might be worth a punt. It could pay off massively for you. So that's one thing I think to think about too. But I don't really want to talk too long on this video. Like I've said, the main things to think about really for this week is, can I carry 2 transfers into game week 3? And which Chelsea and Spurs players do I really want to target, particularly in game week 3? And what transfers am I most likely to make for that? If you have a license game week 2, fantastic. Have half an eye on any headaches in your team, like Gabriel, you might want to think about. Brighton's fixtures from game week 4 onwards turn bad. So you might be thinking about, if you've got 3 Brighton, you might need to be thinking about, okay, which one of those can I move on to a Chelsea or Spurs? And you need to, I think, have half an eye on Newcastle as well to chuck them out there, because from game week sort of 5, their fixtures turned decent. And they just smashed Villa 5-1. So, the likes of Trippier defensively, you think solid pick. You might want to try and make room for him. But someone like an Isak or a Harvey Barnes might be a really fun punt if they keep scoring goals. So again, they're one to really watch, I think, the next few weeks. And again, have half an eye in your back of your mind of how am I going to get to them when it gets to later game weeks. So I'm already sort of half thinking about this because, as you go through the game week, some of the United fixtures get harder. and so do the Arsenals. So you might think, here, like an Arsenal defender to Trippier could be the play, something like that. So anyway, there's a few things, a few sort of bits of food for thought to chuck out there and for you to think about. I think that probably summarizes the main things to think about for this video. So yeah, I'll leave it there. Thanks for listening. I hope you've enjoyed. Yeah, if you've watched this and thought actually I might like dipping in and out of this content, yeah, do subscribe. Do leave this video a like. That would be much appreciated. I do one of these each week, so just to give you a general overview each week and my thoughts. Yeah, you might find interesting as something to listen to alongside some of the others, or a bit of a summary of some of the things I picked from some of the other videos. So, yeah, we'll leave it there. Thanks for watching. Hope you've enjoyed. Have a good rest of your days. I hope you have a good game week too, and I look forward to catching you all on the next one. Bye for now.